Everyone, I am Carmen Michael, the professional mic holder.
Everyone, it's Alexis Cardoza.
What's up, everybody? It's the Wild Rhino Clark Connors from New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I am here getting wild, drinking an 805.
Hey, this is Billy Starks.
Rip F and Bison. I ran out of booze.
I am the fire starter, the Carney Killer. I am born to die, Jake Crest.
This is Bobby Olson.
This is Anthrax of H2O.
My name's Christopher Landon, Anthony Streeter.
My name is Frank Minetti.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Red Air and one half of the PH Boys from Hood Classic Entertainment, representing the Hood Boys, the PH Boys, Purple Haze, Prince Alexander.
This is Martin Stone, the original strong style hooligan.
And today, you have the privilege
of drinking at Moe's.
And you know I'm drinking with Mo.
And you are drinking
at Moe's, where we talk about the pros of pro wrestling in the Midwest while sipping on some brews with blessed beers and wrestling. That's my scene. Death matches and lucha libre. It's also mean. I'm a straight up smart goofball, not no kiss ass. I stand tall when it comes to wrestling. I'm the king. I know every move, every fling. Get ready for a wild time with drinking at Moe's, where we don't quit drinking at Moe's. That's where it's at, like a power bomb. We hit hard, never flat. Fucking right, we're living the dream. Talking about wrestling, know it's a scream.
You know, I've always said here at Drinkinatmos, just because it says drinking at Moe's does not mean it has to be alcoholic. So I'm happy to say Drinking at Moe's is sponsored by Prince Nana Coffee. The exact same guy you see every week on Dynamite, on Collision. Yes, he has his own coffee, and it's freaking delicious. They don't even roast those beans until you've placed your order, and you might be telling me, hey, Big Mo, I'm more of a tea guy. They got you covered there, too. Use the referral link in the description of this video, and let's get you dancing like Prince Nana with Prince Nana Coffee. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Come on, damn it. All right. Big Mo here. Drinking Mo is my 2 cents. Nate here.
Hi.
Yep. Yeah. You know what? You know what to do with the like button today. What? Hit it with the BFT like LA Night.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So today, what we are going to do, we're going to talk about our personal favorite wrestlers in movies. Not necessarily movies about wrestling, just that wrestlers were in these particular movies. We got, you got 5. I'm trying to think. I got somewhere between 3 and 5, but we'll eat, like, I'll go over one, then we'll talk about it. You give yours, and we'll flip-flop like that.
All right.
So mine...
Oh, you start. Okay, go.
Yeah, I'm going to start off with one that... This one actually has a handful of wrestlers in it.
Oh.
And I was actually just watching it, no more than a week ago. Adam Sandler's remake of The Longest Yard.
Oh, yes. I forgot about that one.
Not only does it have the great Khali,
it
has Goldberg. It has Stone Cold Steve Austin. And it has Kevin Nash.
It also has Bob Sapp.
No, Bob Sapp, yeah, because he had a bit of a history in pro wrestling / MMA.
MMA, yeah. There's a
did have a stint in New Japan, yeah.
There used to be a company. I don't know if it's still around. I can't remember the name of it. That was a hybrid company where it was MMA and wrestling.
You know what? I know I'm spacing off on what it is, but long story short, yes. Lots of wrestlers in this one, and I don't know. Me being an Adam Sandler fan, I was just loving it.
Are you going to watch Happy Gilmore too?
Yes. Obviously.
Apparently MJF is in that one.
Travis Kelce's in it. So, but that's not on wrestling.
No.
But it was a remake, which, funny enough, and I was watching it with my wife, and I was like, the guy that Burt Reynolds, who was in the original, and if I remember right, and I was always under this impression, the character that Adam Sandler plays in the remake is the one that would have been Burt Reynolds' character in the original.
Mm-hmm.
But man, there were some great moments in there where like Adam Sandler's trying to get Great Khali's character to join the team, but
so they
he's playing ping pong by himself. He's got the one hand up, and then how he says that, you know, such and such guard is going to be on the guards team.
Yep.
And he's like, I play.
And
like, oh, the look on the guard's face.
Well, you know, and the funny thing is, when they're doing the recruiting process, you know, every time he'd walk over, he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, that guy's, you know, that guard's on the team," and they're like, "All right, I'll do it," and the guard's like, "Damn."
Oh yeah.
Damn.
You know, more often than not, a lot of remakes
fail.
Yeah, they're not that great. But this one was one of those remakes. I'm not going to say it's better than the original.
No.
But it's pretty damn good.
It's up there. It's up there. It takes a modern twist on an old
modern
I guess old classic.
Yeah. I would definitely agree with you there. So that
and Kevin Nash is in it too. Did you say
I already said
did
that.
You? Okay, yeah, you did.
Yeah, damn army beat up your brain.
Why I take medicine for migraines.
But yeah, that was a good movie. And by all means, this is not in any particular order, as in, oh, this one's my favorite or whatever. But now on to one for you.
Oh, for me. Well, the one that I picked, like I said, no particular order. I came here to kick ass and chew bubblegum.
And I'm all out of
bubblegum. That's right. It's They Live with Roddy Piper.
Classic.
A very classic movie. And the funny thing is when it was first came out, it wasn't considered a classic because, heaven forbid, it's one of them wrestlers that's in there.
Why
and now look at it. And now look at it. It's classic. It's one of those where it's like it should almost be required viewing for certain things.
Oh yeah, no, it's one of those. I guess you could call it a cult classic in a way, where it was like
you almost could, yeah.
But hey, it still, like, you have more memories of that movie than I do. Besides that particular line that you mentioned.
Oh, well, that's because everyone knows the line.
They've even got a bubblegum soda with that.
Do they?
With Piper's picture on it. I forget who makes it, but I know I've seen it out there.
It's not Jones Company, is it?
It very well could be. I don't remember. It was one of those novelty ones where, you know, they make wacky.
It might. It might be Jones. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
I mean, I could probably look it up later and be like, text you later on going, hey, it is Jones.
No, yeah. Now, for me, another one, and I don't know if I'd really say this as one particular movie, because this person plays the same character in multiple,
Oh,
but Dave Bautista in the Marvel movies
oh, Drax.
as Drax or Drax.
Yeah, Drax the Destroyer.
But just the way he delivers those lines, where it's like he doesn't understand different things, is just like, dude, loving it. Just
It shows the comedy that he has.
Oh
and,
yeah,
and he's not supposed to be a comedic character.
yeah, he's supposed to
do it.
But yeah, he does a damn good job of it. Like, and it spans from the couple of Guardians of the Galaxy movies, then to those last of
Avenger
the
movies.
Avenger movies before the new iteration of things that are gonna start coming out. Man, he was able to do a great job throughout all of that, which it's funny because when you think of professional wrestlers in movies, obviously you think of The Rock, you think of John Cena. You can even think of people like, hell, Stone Cold Steve Austin's done quite a bunch.
Quite a few, yeah.
And you don't really, he doesn't get the, I mean, he's starting to now, but he didn't for a little bit get
he still had his wrestling career when he started doing the Marvel movies.
Yeah, but he didn't get, for a little bit, didn't really get the attention that The Rock or John Cena got with some of their movies. But I mean, even outside of the Marvel ones, he's been in James Bond movies.
He's if I remember, I listened to his interview with Chris Van Fleet. He was, when he first started acting and he was doing the Marvels, he was typecast as the same thing. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? What are you going to take somebody who's, cut, he's muscular, he's tattooed, 300 some odd pounds. What are you going to put him in? What kind of a role are you going to put him in? He's either, a bodyguard of some kind, or he's some form of assassin.
But to get to see him have, maybe he wasn't, I mean, okay, going back, words are hard right now. I might not be as familiar with the comic book side of, the Marvel universe. Growing up, I collected some comic books, but never really dove that deep into it.
Right.
So somebody out there that might be more into the Marvel lore might know more about Dave Bautista's character in those movies than I do. But as far as his delivery in the movies, I think he did a damn good job. Because especially some of those, like, what was it? Endgame and Infinity War.
Infinity War, Endgame, yeah.
I'm forgetting if it was...
The only problem is with that particular character in the movies, he was only in the final Endgame. He was only in it for like the final battle.
But the thing that got to me with, like, at least his delivery, you got a good, like, you got that comedic break without it being too damn cheesy. So that's why I enjoyed his performance in those. Now, on to another one for you.
Okay. How's your editing skills?
Good enough.
We need to stop this real quick.
Fucking button. All right, we're back. Somebody couldn't hold it.
Sorry. I'm old, so.
All right, on to the next one for you.
All right, are we on our number twos or whatever?
Oh,
Oh, hey.
hopefully this is a good one, not a running
Dun,
one.
dun, tch. Oh, damn. All right, so
Nobody likes a runny number 2.
nobody likes a runny number 2. This is what we've become. All right, so my next one, I absolutely love this movie, The Princess Bride with Andre the Giant.
Ah, yes. It's been a while since I've seen it all the way through, but I will never forget when this actually goes back to my wedding, where we were trying to talk the officiant, who's a good friend, into saying this particular line from the movie in the actual ceremony, which we got word from my mom and the mother-in-law that no. So we're like, okay, can we at least have it in the rehearsal? They were like, okay, as long as it's just there. So we literally had him marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today.
Oh, I remember that. Oh man, yeah, I remember that. And I'm like,
Little personal connection to the movie.
There you go. Yeah, that's all we need is a personal connection to a movie.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm on the Brute Squad. You are the Brute Squad.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, you've seen it more than I have.
And yeah, I have.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but I've heard plenty of stories.
Like I said, the movie it's a timeless movie.
That it is. I just get too preoccupied with other stuff.
That's true. I give you that one.
But yeah, no, classic. I remember hearing stories. I think it was like in one of the Andre the Giant documentaries. They talk about something with filming that movie. So it's a good one, and not like, I don't know. I think the first time I saw it, not like one of those times that was like I didn't really know anything about the movie at that point. And all of a sudden Andre the Giant walks in the into the film, and I'm like, what?
That's a big summit. Holy shit, that's Andre.
But yeah, that was a good one.
May he rest in peace.
Oh yes, rest in peace, Andre. God dang. Like, when you talk about like people that you hear about, special attraction wrestlers that didn't really need a title. You heard that guy's name on the card. You saw his name on the marquee.
Yep.
It was like you were like, oh, I have to be there for that.
I gotta be there just to see this guy in person.
No, yeah. Now, I never actually got to meet him in person because I was pretty damn young at that point.
Oh, yeah.
But I do remember that I got to meet the guy that was tasked with driving him around quite a bit.
Oh,
Tim White.
Tim White.
God rest his soul too. Because
he's buying drinks for Andre up in heaven right now. So.
Oh God, like I gotta.
He's going bankrupt too.
What this goes into that. I just remember here, like, seeing the pictures of Andre holding a regular sized beer can, but like that size
right here
for those watching the YouTube version. But like in his hands, now this goes back to
Oh, you're talking 70s.
Oh, but what I'm talking about with the size of the can.
Oh yeah.
When I was when my wife and I were at the hospital, have had our son,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the stuff that they'd be like asking if they could bring us anything, and like I didn't feel like trying to go down to the cafeteria or finding the vending machine. They brought in a can, and it would be one of the small
Oh, one of those small ones.
and I'd be like, dude, this can makes me feel like Andre the Giant. And the sheer amount of those that he'd be able to drink and have virtually no effect on him at all.
Mm-hmm.
Holy.
Well, when you're 7'2" and 500 pounds and suffered from gigantism, I think is what the layman's terms of what they called it.
Yeah, that would be like the layman's terms. Aggro something.
Yeah, something like that. Everything is large.
Yeah.
So he could, I'm pretty sure his metabolism was cranked up there.
Oh yeah. But man, that was something else. That was something. Now, all right. Another one for me. And okay, I'm trying to I think it was the first of this series, because there was a series of movies, but this person was only in one. Macho Man as Bonesaw in the first Spider-Man movie.
That was one of the ones I was going to say, and it's like, no, he's probably going to say it because that's fairly easy.
And it's like Bonesaw was literally just like the Macho Madness version from WCW days. It was just like an amped up version of that, which if you can imagine an amped up version of Macho Man who in front of the camera and in the ring was already an amped up enough visual individual as it already was. Yeah.
And you want to know the funny thing? I've been seeing a lot of videos on YouTube that actually showcased Macho Man's real voice. Not the one that you hear on TV where he's always talking like this. Ooh, yeah. No. Take out the wanting to poop voice. That's Randy's, he just talks normally like this, brother. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard it.
So I've been seeing a lot of those, and yeah, it's I don't know where did it come from. I don't know, but that's just
yeah. All right.
Okay. So
and that one relatively short. Talked about that one because his part in the movie was relatively short.
Yeah, it was what, maybe 5-10 minutes,
if that.
If that. All right, so on to mine. So my next one. Okay, so this is about wrestlers and movie, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So my next three are actually about wrestlers and wrestling movies.
Okay.
Which I don't know how it came about there. I just saw, I was like, oh, these guys. My next one is Body Slam. For you young kids who don't know, that was made in 1986.
I was only 3.
Wow. So I sit there.
What, am I making you feel old now?
I get that every morning. I wake up. So I say that because if you've never seen Body Slam, it's got Roddy Piper in it. Bruno, not Bruno. Oh yeah, I think Bruno is in there. I've actually got it pulled up because I forgot to write all the names down. It's got Roddy Piper, the Tonga Kid, Captain Lou Albano, the Barbarian, another guy that I think wrestled for maybe 3 years, and then he's no longer with us. And then a handful of other guys that would be considered legends now.
Yeah.
Ric Flair, Freddie Blassie, Sheik Adnan El Casey, if you remember those names. Besides
no,
Ric
I don't.
Flair.
Other than Ric
Flair. Well, Freddie Blassie used to be a manager in WWE.
Oh, well, Freddie
WWF.
Blassie, yes, I remember him, but there were some of those other ones I'm like, who?
Bruno Sammartino. There's another one here I've never even heard of. But yeah,
No,
great.
not that you hadn't heard of Bruno Sammartino, but the
Right.
other guy that you were
The
about
other
to say.
Sheik Adnan LKC. He was World Class Championship Wrestling, and then
Okay, I
and
vaguely
then
remember.
and then when WCCW shut down and became USWA, he was in Global Championship Wrestling, I think it was. It was that one that took over for AWA when they shut down on ESPN.
Gotcha.
It was an
Yeah,
ESPN
I just
specific.
wanted to clarify that because I knew somebody would clip the part where it made it sound like you didn't know who Bruno Sammartino.
Oh no. I if you watch if you're a wrestling fan, you know who Bruno is. Damn it.
Oh yeah.
Jesus.
That would have been the clip. Another guy I don't know who it is right after.
Who the hell is this Bruno guy? What's his real name? Sam Martino. What the hell was wrong with their creative back in the 60s?
Oh,
They didn't even know what creative was back in the 60s. My bad. It was back when the title matches were 2 out of 3 falls, and they thought that was great.
hey, some 2 out of 3 falls matches aren't that bad.
If they tell a good story. Anyways,
next one for me, going back to another one for The Rock, his version of Walking Tall.
Oh yes, that was a good one.
That was a good one. I believe that was one of his first ones after those two involving the Mummy and Scorpion King. I believe that was one of his first ones, and another remake, which I'll openly admit I have not actually watched the original. I've heard good things about it, but I enjoyed the whole story, military guy coming back to his hometown, helping out. And, obviously, I know when some of the times that I'd just come back on leave, visiting my hometown after I enlisted and noticing different things that would change.
Yeah.
That was a lot of what he was noticing when he came back home. And I believe, you know what? Yeah, it was actually based on a true story.
Right.
Which, come to think, yeah, it's interesting because, I mean, you and I can attest to, what it's like when you come back from when you first come home and all sorts of stuff has changed. And, I know for me, it was like everybody was, there in current day. And I almost felt like I was back where I was before I left.
Exactly.
And
one of those where you leave and it's like you're gone for however. I mean, oh shit! When I went to Germany, I didn't come home for 2 years. So, and I'm sure you being Navy, I'm sure you didn't come home for X amount of time because you were there.
Yeah,
I mean, not there, but
there was literally only one time that I came home outside of the Christmas, New Year's leave periods. Only one time in the damn near, in my entire 4-year enlistment.
I mean, I didn't come home for 2 years because it just so happens that whenever they had like, I was deployed to Bosnia for Thanksgiving and Christmas 2 years in a row. My grandparents came over and visited me over there, and that's the closest I came to home.
Yeah, there was a period where I had only come home for Christmas, and now we're going into different enlistment stories, but I remember my ship was getting ready to be commissioned. My parents came down for it, and originally I had the idea because I knew my ship was going to be going into a time in the shipyard where they're going to be fixing up and updating stuff. So I knew there was going to be a period of time where I wasn't going to have a whole lot to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I had this idea of the youngest of my sisters was still in high school, and I hadn't been back to watch. She big into volleyball, was always on the volleyball teams. I hadn't been able to be back to watch.
Okay.
So I was like, well, I found it out. I originally wasn't going to tell anybody.
Oh.
I was originally just going to rent a car when I got in, or I was going to tell somebody, like a family friend, and be like, don't tell anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I found out that she was going to be transferring to a different school for her senior year. So I was like,
oh,
well, shit, I might have to tell somebody now. So I ended up telling my parents when they came for the commissioning, was like, hey, I have this idea. My dad came and picked me up. We were over at, and let's just say, yeah, I got the reaction I wanted. So yeah, we could do a whole another episode, non-wrestling related, just on stories from our enlistment. But long story short, it was, there was that stuff that I could relate to in that movie about, coming back to your hometown, and some of the stuff that you see, maybe you're like, you weren't too big of a fan of, or, just stuff that was just strange.
Oh yeah.
So that relatable aspect to it was something that
you're coming into town and there's something that wasn't there when you left, and you're like, what in the fuck is that?
So multiple times I remember telling my dad, like, what the heck happened there?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that happened. Like, yeah, oh, whatever.
Yeah. All right. Next one for you.
The next one for me. So if anyone's ever watched, a documentary like this, it's a good documentary. Beyond the Mat.
Ah, yes.
And, granted, you could sit there and say, well, oh, Nate, it's a wrestling movie with wrestling. It's a documentary.
Documentary movie, so it counts.
Documentary movie, so it counts, and it has wrestlers in it.
So it counts towards this list.
It basically focuses on Mick Foley, Terry Funk, and I've got it written down here. Jake the Snake Roberts. Now, this one here, if you've never heard about the lows of Jake the Snake Roberts, this one will show you the lows of Jake the Snake Roberts.
Oh yeah, it definitely shows you some moments he's probably not too thrilled with himself about.
And it just so happened that when they were filming this, they were in Nebraska.
Oh yeah.
He was wrestling at a show in North Platte, I think.
North Platte, Kearney, somewhere out that way.
Somewhere around there. And along with those three, they also do some spattering of some smaller guys, that are trying to come up from the indies into, they showed two guys that were from California, I think, same place that gave birth to John Cena. Because Cena, granted, he's from Massachusetts, but he wound up going to California to learn how to wrestle.
Yeah.
Sometimes you think that he should have stayed. Did I say that out loud? My bad. So he wound up going over there, became a huge fan, turned around and go to OVW, which, if you've never watched The Wrestlers on Netflix, watch it. It's pretty cool.
Oh, like, as far as, wrestling documentaries, that one being a TV show, yeah, they do some good stuff.
And when you sit there and you watch some of the guys that are on the roster at this time, because it was made in 2021, 2022, something like that.
I forget.
You realize that if you've watched anything other than WWE or, watch some of the Juggalo Championship Wrestling, it's become a bigger. It was just a fun project with the Insane Clown Posse. You find out that Cash Flow, the guy that's one of the bigger guys, and he started out there. And I'm sitting there, they showed it, and I'm like, holy fuck, I remember watching that dude. Or the one dude who started out in TNA, I remember seeing him in some of those matches, and it's like, oh shit.
Oh yeah.
And then there's the guy, I'm kidding. Al Snow, I remember. No, I'm kidding. But no, Beyond the Mat, it's gritty, it's dirty. It shows Mick Foley getting thrown off the cage, and it shows him taking, God, how many chair shots from The Rock at the Royal Rumble? Like 20.
Oh god, yeah.
And how he feels afterwards. It's like,
During that I Quit match where the way they got it to be like, oh, Mick Foley said I quit. It was literally just the pre-recording. Yeah.
But just watching that, it's Mick Foley for that, and his, watching it back, going, God, I feel like shit right now. I'm terrible dad. Jake the Snake Roberts hitting the absolute lows that he is, and the addiction that he had. And then, nowadays you see him, he's, on AEW, kind of, I guess. I think he still is. I think he's still under contract. And then Terry Funk, one of his 800 retirements before, he finally decided to no longer wrestle. And then you have some other guys. Some of them have, Darren Drozdov is in there.
He's gonna puke.
He's gonna puke. Goddamn. Then there's a guy that was on there. He was like one of their head trainers when we got off on the whole going to California. He's one of the head trainers for the California school that they showed. Him and another guy had a dark match on Raw. This guy, the head trainer, turned around, signed the contract with WCW to be a cruiserweight. But he's too, in the film they sat there and he said he's too big to be a cruiserweight, but he's too small to be a heavyweight. The funny thing is that if you think about it, where that guy is, or where that guy was at that time, perfect for WWE now. Because their top stars are under 225.
No. Yeah. I've seen.
All in all, it's a good shit. It's a good movie.
Oh yeah. No, definitely a good one. Now, I was trying to.
A little sad now that some of those guys are no longer with us.
No, true. That is true. Now, I was trying to. There's two relatively newer ones, but I can't remember the name of one, so I'll just go with the other that I do remember. They both actually involve John Cena. Cock blockers.
I don't remember.
Comedy involving parents trying to, they're worried that their kids are gonna, do things. So they try to get in the way of it, basically. Great, funny movie. You get to see John Cena's comedic timing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And there was one, he, when it comes to the wrestling side of things, you never really got to see the comedic side of him. But when he got in the movies, not just cock blockers, you get to see that he legit has some great comedic timing to him.
Oh yeah.
Like because that's the whole thing with comedy is, I've told a few people, like when I used to work with kids with behavior issues and, trying to be funny, and I just be like, comedy, one of the things about comedy is it's about timing. You got to have the timing down. And when it comes to him in at least a lot of the movie, I haven't seen one of his comedy movies that he didn't do a pretty good job in.
Oh, he's a funny individual.
Oh yeah. Like God, there was one with I'm trying to remember the name. We'll have to maybe do a round 2 sometime because I am trying to remember the name of this other one.
Was it
But
a comedy?
Yeah, he plays a guy that they hire these friends. Like I'll explain the plot to it.
Okay.
But and maybe somebody in the comments can, help me with trying to remember the name of this one. But these friends, they as a break from their lives, their families, they basically make up this guy that like just crazy off the wall person.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about, and you're right. I can't think of that name either.
But the guy, John Cena plays the guy that they end up hiring to be that person to kind of cover up the whole lie.
So now you got me looking to see what his movies are. Because if I see what his movies are, I will be able to.
It's a relatively newer one, within the last couple of years. It's a good one. It is a good, funny, fucking funny movie.
Ricky Stenicki?
That's it.
It's the very first one that popped up.
That is it. That would, at 2 and 1, cock blockers in that one. You get to see his comedic timing in them. So that's why
there's other movies out there where you can see his comedic timing.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of hard to hone in on someone's comedic timing when they're wrestling and not take them serious. Because granted, you can only go so far with comedic timing when you're cutting a promo before someone goes, that dude's just there for comedy. Kind of like R-Truth.
But yeah, no, but yeah, you get R-Truth out there for that stuff. There's nobody more over than that guy.
No, there's not.
You get that guy out there getting people rolling. There's nobody more over than that guy.
Mm-mm.
All right, last but not least for you,
R-Truth for Hall of Fame.
Oh God, absolutely. I don't know if he wants to have that be more like after he retires, because I know there's people out there that they want, like if they're gonna get inducted, they want it after their active days are done.
It's kind of like, they inducted Ric Flair into the Hall of Fame, and then he had, he wrestled, the night after, and then after he left, he kept wrestling in TNA.
That and Rey Mysterio's still going.
Rey Mysterio's still going, yeah.
So
I guess it was almost one of those things where it's like, well, do we do it now? Do we pull the trigger on it? What do we do?
But yeah, no, I would. They say, and this is going off on a tangent for what we were talking about here, but
tangents here, no.
No, but I know I've said it in different interviews. I know other people, when talking to me about it, have mentioned it, that pro wrestling is all about moments.
Yes.
Especially when, and I get a little choked up thing about it whenever I get to bring my son to his first one.
Ah, yes.
But especially those first moments for somebody, giving them something they'll never forget.
How long's your wife going to let him wait before you take him to her first one?
Who knows? But
I think it'd be a perfect time to take him with us. No, he's not going.
Well, we've actually thought about the
18th birthday. It's perfect. No, he's not going.
The promotion that we met at.
Yes.
we're actually thinking of one of the next shows taking him there to meet everybody because
Oh God. Yeah, he was that kid's gonna get loved on more than anything.
though he already is.
Well, true, yeah.
Like we take him anywhere to visit anybody. It's almost like I just hand him over and be like, okay, I'll see you when we're getting ready to leave.
Nice seeing you, buddy.
Because don't count on me being the one holding him that entire time.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
But yeah, no, wrestling is all about those moments. And R-Truth, whether they got the working relationship with TNA now, being one of those guys that he won the NWA World Title when it was NWA TNA, and all the moments like, oh God, like some of my favorite Royal Rumble moments were like he brought in a ladder thinking it was the Money in the Bank match.
That's one that I constantly see all the time.
And
climbing the ladder.
What? Or where his music hits and he's coming out there during the women's rumble.
Yes. And he's like, where the guys at? Where are all the guys at?
Oh my God. He is somebody special. But all right.
He is.
Last one for you. I don't have anything after that.
You know, so I'm closing this one out.
You're closing it out.
Well then, I've got The Wrestler.
That is a great, like, when it comes to movies about pro wrestling, like actual, not, we got documentaries. There's been a lot of great ones. But when it comes to like an actual movie about pro wrestling, they're kind of hit and miss.
They are.
The Wrestler is a damn good one.
Yes, it is. And, if you've seen it, cool. You know where I'm going with this. If you haven't seen it, well, listen up, kids. So as far as wrestlers go, a lot of indie guys, a lot, Necro Butcher, Blue Meanie, R-Truth is in it.
That he is.
Just a whole bunch of like guys that, Austin Aries, Claudio, let's see here. Chuck Taylor was in it. Nigel McGuinness, Drew Gulak, even though some people don't want to say him, talk about him because of stuff he did. And Ernest the Cat Miller, who apparently gained an assload of weight to play the part.
Oh yeah, he played the guy that was the rival.
Right. He played I got it right here. The Ayatollah.
The Ayatollah, yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those movies where, yes, it's about wrestling, which isn't exactly what we were talking about here, or it's about wrestling, but the only wrestler that's actually doing the stuff, they got indie guys that are doing the stuff, but the star is not a wrestler. Now, if you sat there and you watched the show, then you know that Mickey Rourke did a damn good job.
Oh, he did a damn good job.
Awesome job. I thought it was great.
Showing the, you hear the story leading up to the movie where, the highs of where he was, and then, kind of an attempt to work your way back up after.
And it's to be honest, I brought up, Beyond the Mat and Jake the Snake Roberts. Hey, guess what? The way this is almost planned out, it's almost the same thing as Jake.
Oh yeah. Like very similar.
The highest of highs. And then next thing you know, this guy, he's going to conventions, and he's, with all the other wrestlers, and he's seeing all these guys that he wrestled with back in the day, and they're, using canes, or they're in wheelchairs, and they're missing part of their legs, or, stuff like that. And they're, $20 to sign a 8x10, or, making, $20-30 to wrestle in front of 20 people, in a ballroom.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it shows the gritty side of it all.
Yeah, you get to see the gritty side of it, which, there's.
Which that's the part that I actually love. It's indie wrestling.
Yep, you get to see the part, everybody loves the glitz and the glamour of it all.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get to see the part that happens, after the camera goes off, or, after, somebody has been on the highest level of things, and they, for whatever reasons, they're having to work their way back up. Will try to still hold on to some resemblance of what they had been.
Yep.
You don't you don't, and for obvious reasons, you don't concentrate on that side of things. But to see a depiction of it,
oh yeah,
done as well as what they did, that was awesome.
It was, and it kind of goes along with some of the other, Beyond the Mat, The Wrestler, bringing up wrestlers on Netflix, kind of showing, the other side of the curtain. It's showing, and when I say the other side of the curtain, it's the backstage stuff, but it's not the WWE, it's not AEW, it's not TNA. These are guys that are, like I said, they're beating themselves up for $20. It's the indie wrestling. Another one, that I can't remember the name of it, but it was kind of like, the wrestlers, but it was based more on an independent show in North Carolina, and their build up to one of their big ones, and I cannot remember the name of it. But it kind of showed the, the build for it and the backstage, and how everyone gets to where they are, and it's like, okay. And it kind of, it you didn't see that with WWE back in the day. You didn't see how the gorilla at Raw or SmackDown or at a pay-per-view, how it looks. Nowadays, you can go on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or whatever else, and you can just see something that's backstage.
Yeah.
I remember, case in point, WrestleMania this 40. Sami Zayn taking on Gunther. They followed Sami Zayn all the way through, from the backstage all the way through Gorilla, sitting there stopping and giving a hug to Kevin Owens, and then off you go. Back in the day, you wouldn't have seen that.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, we're not going to show. No, fuck that. No. Now everyone's like, oh, let's go ahead and show some backstage stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know about you. That's about all I got.
That's all I got too.
All righty. Well, hope everybody has a good week. We are getting, as of when this episode will release, we're inching that much closer to WrestleMania. So I hope everybody is continuing to enjoy the build up to the newest Showcase of the Immortals.
The Showcase of the Immortals.
Let's fucking go.
Turn it off.
I'm trying to fucking turn it off. God